Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brian with Games Under Pressure, bringing you a look at Castle Crashers Remastered. Before we get into it though, if you own Castle Crashers on the Xbox 360, and you should because it was a damn good game, if you own that on the Xbox 360 and you own an Xbox One, Castle Crashers Remastered is free for you. Yes, it is free. Isn't that hard to believe? Typically with these remasters, with these remakes, you expect it's almost greedy in a lot of ways. You know, you're like, well, come on, developer, I don't want to have to double dip and give you an extra 15 bucks of my money to play this game again. And these guys get it. They are taking care of their loyal fans, and I absolutely love that. So let's get into what exactly Castle Crashers Remastered is. Number one, they increased the texture resolution by 5 times. And let's pick my little character here. I'm gonna go with this dude. So everything looks a little bit sharper. The foreground, the background looks a little bit sharper. They also now made the game run in 60 frames per second as opposed to 30 frames a second, which is what the original Castle Crashers ran in. There are some various fixes and optimizations because it is on new gen hardware, current gen hardware. But you know, I guess what they've been really marketing is a new mini game called Off Barbarian, and that's brand new for this version of the game. And I'll show you that in a minute. It's weird. It's really, really weird. I don't want to say I can't figure it out because it's fairly straightforward and it's pretty easy. But it's bizarre. It's really bizarre. So if you can't tell from the video, the texture resolution does look a little bit better. It looks a little bit sharper. You can see it on some of the foreground and the background stuff. So things have a little bit less aliasing. They seem just a little bit clearer. It's not super noticeable, second-to-second gameplay. What is noticeable is the frame rate. The frame rate now is 60 frames a second, like I mentioned, and you can tell it does run a lot smoother than the Xbox 360 version did. And in a game like this, I think that's super important that it runs smoothly. So far, so good. I haven't encountered any frame rate dips or issues, technical issues. Don't forget, this is a game that came out many, many years ago, so they should have a lot of that stuff figured out by now. But the remastered, it's Castle Crashers. That's what this game is. It's just more Castle Crashers, and not even more Castle Crashers. It's Castle Crashers. It just runs a little bit better. So if you don't like Castle Crashers, well, I don't know if this is going to do anything to win you over. The Off Barbarian minigame is pretty short, and there's not a whole heck of a lot to it, but that's okay. I can see people enjoying that. So I'm just going to play a few minutes here and sort of show you the performance of the game, let you see that nothing really dips down. I love games like this because it's like a callback to a completely different time. A time when I was growing up, and you know, you had these brawlers in arcades, and they were sort of artificially difficult to keep you plugging quarters in. I think one of my favorites, I don't want to say it's my favorite, but one of my favorite beat-em-ups ever is Capcom's Alien vs. Predator. That was just incredible. It was super short, but man, I love that game. I might do a video one of these days. I actually owned the arcade cabinet for a while. Everything about this game is just really well done. The visual style is quirky, but also strangely beautiful, like hand-drawn and gorgeous that way. The bosses are amazing too. I probably won't get to any of them in this video, but the bosses are great. You can see that you level up a little bit, so there are some RPG elements to it, which adds a lot of depth to it. I know on the Xbox 360 I played through the entirety of this game like 3 or 4 times. It's a really great couch co-op game, which is something that doesn't really exist anymore, which is a shame. But yeah, you can see even when there are a lot of effects on the screen at once, you're not really seeing too many frame rate dips, or any frame rate dips, I should say. It runs smoothly. And in this day and age, like, again, for a game to come out and launch without any technical issues, I think Metal Gear Solid 5 was the last game that did that. But yeah, no, so you get different weapons, as you can see. It's a pretty standard beat 'em up. A lot of quirk, a lot of charm, just pretty cool. So what I'm gonna do now is actually show you the Off Barbarian minigame, and this is weird. I don't know how I feel about this. And by the way, there is online multiplayer and things like that, so if you don't have anybody to play with and you want that multiplayer experience, you're able to get it. Here is Off Barbarian, and I don't know about this. It's really bizarre. I'm gonna go with the blue dude. So you have this isometric grid, and each one of these squares on the grid is color-coded. So if you press the B button, which is red, you go to the red. If you press the A button, which is green, you go to the green. And what you have to do is get away from that dude that's trying to jump on your head. And that's it. That's all you do. And eventually what'll happen is they'll add more guys. But that's what you do. And it's sort of strange. I mean, you definitely have to think about it. You know, it's not like some very automatic process, because the arrows are just, they sort of play with your brain a little bit. You know, they're color coded, but they're also arrows. And see, my highest score was 47 seconds, which is not anything great. Again, I don't know how much depth there is to this. This is one of those games where I can see myself playing it like once or twice, but I don't know if it's hooked me enough to keep coming back. So I'm a little bit confused why something like this would get so much attention in their press materials, because it seems anemic, I guess. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. I guess I was expecting a little bit more based on all of the I'm doing a little bit better this time, but not much. And the arrows sort of freak you out because you almost expect to go that direction, and then you just don't. You just go to that square, and I don't know. And you can see that they're closing in. Okay, so I beat my high score, which is, again, nothing crazy, but there you have it. That is Castle Crashers Remastered in a nutshell. If you like Castle Crashers, you'll like this. If you don't like Castle Crashers, this is not going to do anything for you, because it's basically the same game. Off Barbarian, nothing great. Nothing great. Don't buy it for this by any stretch of the imagination, but the game looks good, it plays well, and it's free if you bought it on the Xbox 360. If you don't own it on the Xbox 360, I definitely still recommend it. It's a wonderful game. You'll have hours and hours of fun with it. It's especially great with multiplayer online or local. Local's always the best, but definitely check it out. So if you like videos like this, I'd ask that you subscribe. That's going to really help me keep bringing you videos like this in the future. We did a discussion about Destiny. So if you're a fan of Destiny on the Xbox One or the PS4, definitely check out that video. I think you'll like it. We're going to do a few weekly Destiny discussions for the next few weeks especially. So don't miss any of those. Got some other game videos coming up too. So subscribe, don't miss anything, and we'll catch you next time.